Hi, and thanks for joining me for this episode of Business and Legal Q&A Live. This is Understanding the Law Radio, your business success and legal information station, and I'm your host, Peter Lamont. Today we are going to be responding to a question that we received through utlradio.com by William S. And William has a question concerning a judgment that he obtained against his ex-wife. Apparently she's supposed to be making monetary payments and she is not. He wants to know what he should do. But before we get to that question and answer, I want to thank today's sponsor. And today's show is sponsored by ExplosionLuck.com. Explosion Luck sells feng shui paintings and wall hangings and art. And for those of you who are familiar with the concept of feng shui, it's all about energy and positivity. And they have a whole host of feng shui related products, paintings, art, wall art. They have their holiday guide out right now, and I'm going to drop a link to that guide in the show notes, as well as, and for those of you who are in the legal profession, you might find this interesting, they have wall art for lawyers to promote prosperity in their law office. And you know what? Quite frankly, everybody can use a little bit of luck. And I would encourage you to go take a look. Some of the art is very, very beautiful, and it has just an artistic quality to it, aside from the feng shui aspect of it. But I would encourage you to go check that out and see if you can increase your luck with ExplosionLuck.com. That is ExplosionLuck.com. Thanks to them for sponsoring today's show. All right, let's jump right into the question. So William has been through a divorce, and he's obtained a judgment against his ex-wife because she was supposed to be making payments under their divorce agreement, and she's not. And we don't know how many payments, we don't know how long a period of time that she's not been making these payments, but we do know that he has an actual judgment. And he wants to know, how do I get her to pay? So let's talk for a second about judgments. Right? Let's talk about what they are, what their impact is, and then what you can do about it. A judgment is essentially a ruling in your favor. It's an order, a court order in your favor, and it provides for whatever relief it is that you had been seeking. So let's say that you were entitled to X amount of dollars from your ex-wife over a period of, a year. And let's say she was supposed to pay you, let's just call it a low number. Let's say she was supposed to pay you $10,000 in that year, and she has not. So now you go to the court and you say, Judge, and you do this through the way of a motion, Judge, she's not fulfilled her obligation under the divorce or separation agreement. She owes me $10,000. And you file this motion, you give your adversary an opportunity to respond. She does, doesn't, whatever, however it plays out doesn't matter. But ultimately, you walk away with a judgment that says she is obligated to pay you $10,000. Now, that's great. You've got a judgment. What do you do with it? How does it work? How long is it good for? I'm going to, because I'm not a family law specialist at all, okay? So I'm going to put this in terms of general civil litigation. A judgment in a civil case, and this does carry on through for family law matters, but a judgment is enforceable for a set period of time, and it depends upon your state and what your state statute says. In New Jersey, for example, a judgment is good for a 20-year period of time. So that means that within that 20-year time span, you will have the ability to go and try to collect and enforce that judgment. Having the paper judgment in your hand is great, but it's nothing more than that, a paper that says judgment on it. In order to make that judgment enforceable, to do something with it, you have to then take the next step. You have to docket the judgment. And again, this is a very procedural situation. You have to know what your state's procedure is for collecting a judgment or enforcing a judgment. This is something that you can do on your own if you put in the requisite amount of time, but certainly something that I would suggest you go to an attorney for. Again, if you've listened to this show for quite a while, or even if you're new, you'll know one of the things I talk about all the time is that I think that you as a non-lawyer can do so much more than you are told you can do. I think that it just takes a little bit of time, understanding, knowledge, and you can do a lot of your own legal work, quite frankly. But there are times when I do say, this is something that you probably should not try to muddle through. You really need somebody that understands how to do this particular thing. And judgments are one of those things where I lean more towards, well, you probably should get an attorney to help you enforce the judgment. Because there's procedural elements of the judgment that you have to work through. You have to docket the judgment depending upon your state. Once you get it back, then you have to do something else. Sometimes it's submit it to the state, submit it to the court, submit it to the sheriff's office so that you can take steps to levy somebody's bank account or garnish their wages. But it's not a simple process. Oftentimes there's an information subpoena that needs to be sent out first. And there's a prescribed period of time within which the defendant or the person who the judgment is against has to respond. What is an information subpoena? We're not going to get into it too deep, but basically it's a required document you have to respond to. It's a subpoenaed document asking you for information about your finances, your bank information. And if you don't respond to it, you can ultimately be held in contempt. But here again, a judgment is very procedural, and there are attorneys out there that might be great at litigation, but have no idea how to go about collecting a judgment. So it's really something that if you're going to hire an attorney, you need to ask them specifically, are you able to collect this judgment? Have you had experience with collecting and enforcing judgments? And if they say yes, ask some questions, see if you like that person, and then, you're good to go. But basically, again, it is a procedural matter. You might need an information subpoena. You might have to wait a set number of days or months or, weeks before you can do the next thing, which might be to file a motion to, try to levy an account or garnish wages. So there are ways for you to enforce that judgment. Your judgment does have teeth if you take action upon it. But it's not going to do anything if you just sit there with it. And oftentimes the procedural aspects of enforcing a judgment can be time-consuming and complicated, and that's, again, why I say maybe think about talking to a lawyer who can help you collect that money or enforce that judgment. Now, for William's situation, very similar situation, because it's a judgment and it's for money, and he wants to try to collect that money. He's going to be in the same sort of boat as these other examples that I've talked about. May need an information subpoena, may need to do some additional filings before he can go and levy or garnish. But that's ultimately what you can do with a judgment. You can go and you can have, in some states, a sheriff seize property, have your bank account shut down and money in there taken out. But again, talk to an attorney, not something I recommend doing yourself, okay? If you are going to do it yourself, please spend the time to understand the steps and the elements and make sure that you're doing it the right way, because I want to make sure that if you're doing something on your own, pro se, that you really understand what you're doing. You don't have to be, like Matlock, like a top-notch attorney, for those of you who don't know the Matlock show. I might be dating myself, but in any event, know what you're doing, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't muddle through it, because here you are, you're at the end stage. I mean, you've got your judgment. Now let's go get your money. That's the next step, and you need to really think about that before you just go do it. So that is my advice on this matter. That's my explanation as to what can be done. William, I want to thank you very much for submitting your question. Of course, you'll be receiving a free UTL Radio mug for submitting your question. And I want to remind everybody out there to make sure that you check out utlradio.com as we have updated it and continue to update it. We have a ton of new information. There's free guides, for example, the top 10 legal writing tips for non-lawyers. There's links to all of the podcasts and videos and giveaways and just everything that you could want to know about utlradio.com is right there on the website. Also, there is the Ask Your Question tab, where you can record a question directly from your computer through the website, and we'll get it here. Now, in fact, William did do that, and thank you for making use of that feature. Unfortunately, the audio quality was so bad, so garbled, it could have been an internet thing or signal thing. I could not play it, but normally what we'll do is, if you want your question to play on air, you just call or you just go through your computer and record your question through utlradio.com, Ask Your Question page, and we'll get it and play it on air. But unfortunately, sometimes technical difficulties do occur. But I want to thank you, William, for making use of that feature as well. Don't forget also to download the free app, which is available on iTunes and through the Android market. It has a calendar of upcoming shows and special guests. It's got information. It's got giveaways. There's actually a coupon for the shop. Just everything that you could use. There's statute of limitations. There's a whole bunch of things. So check out that free app. Again, free app, so download it. And in fact, right now we have a giveaway that is extended until actually it's not extended. The drawing is on the 30th of August. And all you have to do to have your name submitted for the random drawing is to download the app and leave a comment, leave a review. That's all you have to do. And then on the 30th, we're going to randomly select someone who has left a comment, and we are going to give away a brand new UTL Radio backpack made by High Sierra. All that information, again, is on utlradio.com, so check that out. And that's going to do it for today. Before I sign off, I just want to thank today's sponsor, explosionluck.com. If you're in the market for some feng shui artwork, or you're just looking for something that's pretty to decorate your office or your home, and if you're a lawyer and you need a little bit of luck, check out their lawyer-inspired feng shui products. Again, links to the website and to their 2015-16 holiday catalog are in the show notes. Thanks to them again for sponsoring the show. That is going to do it for me. Please make sure you share this with other people. Tell your friends, family, and colleagues about utlradio.com. Let them know that we are here to help you in your business and personal life. We want to help you grow your business. We are talking about personal development, business success, and what you need to know about the law. Thank you again. Thanks for everybody who subscribes and leaves comments. I appreciate it. I will see you again real soon. Until then, remember that there's power in understanding the law.